Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. Here we are in Alagana, one village in Alamigo, in front of Raganfried. I believe he was a mayor of this place, or village elder, or whatever, because there's an Ether Current quest with a picture. I want the Ether Current, and the picture usually means this is a more interesting side quest. Well, quest chain, rather. Fancy yourself as our village savior, do you? If you truly mean what you say, I have a mind to introduce you to someone. His name's Sayer. Used to be one of Quarry's finest workers, he did. He keeps fighting the good fight to restore Alamigo to its former glory, but I do worry about the toll it must be taking on a man of his years. Have a chat with him if you're interested in helping. Thank you for coming. I'm still waiting for a few more of the villagers to arrive. The outbugger's treating us to another one of his speeches, I see. How long do you plan to continue living an abject squalor? I ask you. It's high time we brought back the Quarry that once made me proud to hail from Alagana. Some of you may be too young to remember, but the Quarry used to mean everything to this village. Bloody hell, it's when this old codger's going to stop harping on about the good old days. Time you open your eyes, you daft bugger. Time's long since passed when we could sell the stone here for a decent amount of gil. It's about time you face the facts. There's no coin to be had sweating away your life in some bloody quarry. I'd be better served going out and hunting my own food. Just hear me out. If you give up on the Quarry, then you'll be giving up on the village itself. Even the hardest of rocks will break if you keep chiseling away at it. Life's the same. Grandfather, that's enough. I can tell you now that no one here would claim to be happy with a lot, but there's nothing that can be done. You remonstrating with everyone is hardly going to do any good. Svetlov. Well, what do you bloody expect with that attitude? No one's going to work to improve things when even my own granddaughter has next to no motivation. There's a reason you don't see much quarrying going on anymore. There's no demand for it. We can get by just fine with the stone we gathered in the past and those we salvaged from ruined buildings. Prosperity doesn't lie in wait for us at the quarry, only monsters. It's about time you realized that we're lucky just to be alive these days. Come on, grandfather, let's go home. Lost, that girl understands nothing, because everything's going to seem pointless if you're only sleepwalking for life. And who in the hells are you anyway? I ain't doing this for your amusement. I am indeed the Sayer you speak of. Raganfried sent you my way, you say? Serenia was it. So you're the last we have to thank for saving their crater? I can tell you've more fire in your belly than this entire village. Perhaps you'll be able to see that I'm not as crazy as these buggers think me. Alagana owes everything to the quarry. The stones we extracted were solid and pleasing to the eye to boot. We even supplied the stone used to build the palace. Those were the days. It was the Imperial invasion that changed everything. Those bastards thought stone structures barbaric, favoring their cold, tasteless metallic buildings instead. They say they look civilized. Don't make me laugh. The final blow to our way of life came when Galmat began recruiting our youth for their army. We lost just as many to the rebel cause. With no one left to tend the quarry, it slowly fell into ruin and is now overrun with beasts. The few of us that remain have left to eke out a living using any means we can. I swear on Walga's very name, if we could just take back the sleeping stones, this whole village would brim with vitality again. I just need something that proves the beasts are gone from the quarry. Then the villagers would surely see fit to help me restore it to its former glory. I know this is a lot to ask of a complete stranger, but it's not as if I'm spoiled for choice right now. Would you be able to rid the quarry of those damn monsters and bring me back 2 Orolith soul stones? I'll forever be in your debt. And of course, it's the long way around. Okay, here are some of the monsters we need. Not quite where they are shown, but it doesn't matter, right? Nice to see you returned. It'd be nice, even nice if you happen to be in possession of certain stones. Here you go. Yes, this is exactly what I'm after. Let's waste no time in showing them to the others. It's been far too long since the last ray of hope shone into the villagers' miserable lives. Right, time to present these soul stones to the village. Let them know that the sleeping stones is ready to be restored. Although it's been quite some time since anyone here truly lent me their ear, would you mind gathering the villagers for me? His granddaughter? What did you just say? Did my grandfather put you up to this? He sends me mad sometimes. My apologies that he bothered you with this kind adventurer. Would you mind if I ask your name? Well, Serenia, you have my thanks for humoring the wild rumblings of an old man. I'll make sure to tell him again that he needs to stop bothering strangers with his fantasies. Ochkin. Quarry, sorry to disappoint. I'm far from interested. There's no point placing the village's future in the hands of a dead industry. Honestly, how many people do you know that are desperate to get their hands on stone these days? Sayer's time would be better spent working out how to sell off all the leftover works you already have cluttering Alagana. What's that? The old fart saying he wants to restore the quarry? Like I haven't heard that before. You might have been able to single-handedly take on a group of Orlis, but most of us aren't heroes of legend. What do you suggest we do should the beasts return? Or are you planning to give up adventuring and become the quarry's very own protector? That doesn't work over well. Back from spreading the good word, are you? Cannot wait to see the looks on my mugs when I have a gander at these soulstones. Grandfather, let's stop this, shall we? No one's going to come. You'd be better soft heading home and having a nap. And you say I'm the one spouting nonsense? I know what this is. You've banded together with all the others to think me mad, haven't you? How could you even think such a thing? I only have your best interest at heart, Grandfather. The fact of the matter is that you can quarry as much as you want. If there's no one willing to buy the spoils, then it's meaningless. Then you're not as young as you once were, and this fool's errand is doing your health no favors. I can't bear to watch you waste your life away any longer. Fool's errand? You consider it foolish to work toward a brighter future for Alagana? Serenia, tell me, do you share my granddaughter's opinion? No need to hold back. I expected more from a woman that saved the crater. I suppose it was foolish of me to think an outsider would understand what quarrying means to Alagana. Listen, we all understand you're just trying to do what you think is best for the village. We do. But you're going to have to accept sooner or later that nothing lasts forever. I was a fool to ever even consider asking others for help. You can hardly expect your words to mean anything to those who live without hope. Yes, it's up to me to show you all how it's done. Why does he have to be so thick-headed? It feels like every interaction we have nowadays inevitably ends in a huge kerfuffle. He has this nasty tendency to refusing to speak to me for hours after a fight as well. I'm truly sorry to involve you in this, but do you think you could talk to him in my stead? This was really not my place to intercept here. I mean, I can understand where both of them coming from, but I honestly don't know well enough about this territory to make an educated decision on the matter. What would be best for the village? That girl makes me wonder if I too spouted so much gibberish at her age. Come to hear a story, have you? Oh, I'll tell you a story, my friend. A tale of a time when the quarry was the heart of Alagana. Yes, those were the days. It didn't matter how long you spent quarrying away, there was always more stone to be cut and people willing to pay for it. The industry supported many a family, let me tell you. There were even some days when I'd take the cold hard floor of a quarry as my bed instead of going home. Where the only thing keeping me going half the time were the work songs we used to sing. By Welga, that's bloody it. If the villagers hear those work songs one more, they're sure to change their minds about the quarry. Bet you're glad you were here to see the very moment that saved our village from ruin. Finished coming to terms with just how inspired my new plan is. Anyone that's held a hammer and chisel knows what wonders a good work song can do. After you've been singing for a while, your swing starts to match the song's rhythm and everything falls naturally into place. You can work for hours and hours without even realizing it. Hammer in one hand, chisel in the other. Cutting up... I don't try to sing, okay? Because I have no sense of rhyme or rhythm. Cutting up rocks to bring home to mother. Rocks become gill. Gill becomes a house. Our hearts the quarry has. No need for a spouse. And the song meanders along in a similar vein after that. The ending, however, is quite something. Speckled stone, edge of the layer. Sells not the stone to a kindly payer. Nay, search for the pebbles. Young maidens revels. That's how it finished. The speckled stone edge of a layer refers to changing patterns that adorn the rock found deep underground. Rocks closest to the edge of each layer are the most brittle, you see. That part of the song exists as a warning to never sell on inferior stone. Although you'd struggle to find a quarrier that doesn't know as much. No. It is the nay, search for the pebbles, young maidens revels part which I find curious. I believe it to be referring to a jewel of some kind. After all, you'd hardly give a young lass any old pebble you just happen to find. No, only the finest jewels would do. If I were able to somehow take a gander at the stone mentioned in the song, probably impossible, mind you, the closest fissure where I could stand a chance of finding it is right next to an imperial stronghold. That being said, I might be able to find something if I had you to keep me safe from harm. Accompany me, Serenia. I'm sure you enjoy the journey. Down there. I hope he doesn't get eaten by the Kirkion. Seems I was right to bring you along. The place is swarming with those rats. Try searching the surroundings for any that might happen to be lying in wait for us. I trust you know what to do when you come across one. Hit them over the head with my axe, right? Over here, okay. Hit the bad heart. Beckon. Come over here. Fine work, Serenia. Suppose it's time for me to do my part. Feast your eyes on this ore, Serenia. Popped right out when I chiseled away along one of the layers of rock. My guess is it could be used to craft quite a fetching jewel. I'll head back to the village and set about examining it in further detail. So maybe jewels, semi-jewel, something like that. Oh, Serenia, sad to say, it seems we were on a fool's errand. was no ore that we found, but a crystal fragment of incredibly low purity. Only the most naive of bands would rejoice upon finding this shiny piece of rubbish. Speckled stone edge of the layer. Sell not this stone to a kindly payer. Must have been referring to this. Grandfather, is that perchance a line from a song that begins with hammer in one hand, chisel in the other? Indeed it is. But why do you know that? Father used to sing it to me in lieu of a lullaby. It's one of my most precious memories from that short time we were able to spend together. Indeed, your father was a fine quarrier. Not a day passed that don't rue his death at the hands of those bastards of Garlemald. We never even had the chance to work together. He chose to apprentice under another teacher, said he didn't want me going easy on him. But enough about the past. We had been using the song as a guide to find stones of value, but the spinner still yet to smile on us. Have you forgotten, Grandfather? There's another version of the song. One which might lead you to in the right direction. Another? Why yes, there was another version, wasn't there? It's been so long since I last sung it, I completely forgotten. I don't suppose you remember the lyrics? Of course I do. All of my memories of Father are as vivid as ever. That's my girl. You hear that, Serenia? There's hope yet. I do recall Father saying that this version of the song wasn't especially popular. However, it was always his favorite. It's certainly the one he sang most often to me. Aye, that's right of it. The quarry would echo for days with workers belting out the version I know. I'll probably still be singing it when I'm dead. Can't say I'm too surprised that's all you remember, Grandfather. It's the only end of a second version that actually differs from the first. Speckled stone edged of the layer. Sell not this stone to a kindly payer. Nay, search for pebbles, young maidens' revels. Between this world and the next, 'tis where the stones collect. Trade them on, our ancestors' song. So the stone worth selling is located somewhere between this world and the next, huh? I must admit I never really thought about it much as a child, but the song's lyrics are a bit eerie, aren't they? Aye, that part about our ancestors is quite morbid. Do you reckon it might be referring to Hidden Tear? I suppose that did used to be a graveyard, didn't it? I don't imagine there are too many people that have cause to visit the area these days. I should hope not. Ever since the Empire banned us from making offerings to the deceased, I have heard an increasing number of stories saying that beings not of this earth stalk the place. I'd love nothing more than to pop over there right now and quickly see if the stones we need can be found, but something tells me it won't be that easy. What say you, Serenia? Can I count on your aid one last time? Of course you can. My thanks. This is our last chance, and I do not intend to fail. Yeah, here. Again, riding around. Because I can't fly yet. Right, Serenia. Would you mind checking the area to see if everything's safe before I go further? If you happen to see anything funny, just take care of it for me. I'll get to work once it's certain the area's safe. Where are the designated locations? There's one. The only presence you sense in this area is your own. nobody but me? Get a feeling there will be something. Dude. I knew I should have paralyzed. I hate paralysis. Nice to see you're still in one piece. Things certainly seem to be a bit safer now. By all means, go on ahead back to Alagana. You have my words, but I deliver this time. Please go and put Swiddle at ease. I bet she's worried sick by now. Ah, Serenia, but wait, where is... Oh, what a relief to hear he is unharmed. Oh, whoa, I will struggle to truly relax until he's back with us safe and sound. Grandfather is so foolhardy. Not a moment goes by that I do not worry for him. You're acting like I'm already in the grave, my love. I can assure you there's nothing to worry about here. I found what we were after in no time. Assuming there's more to be had, we'll be able to start trading with the goldsmiths of Ul'dah. That is, of course, assuming the day we are free of the Empire actually comes. I'm beginning to think our ancestors made Hidden Tea into a graveyard on purpose, as a form of protection in case the Quarry ceased providing for us. After all, Who do you know that go defiling a graveyard in search of witches? Besides me, of course. Regardless, that's the only reason I can think of for them hiding the fact in a work song. Take a look yourself, Sweetlove. It's stunning. When I gaze upon it, I almost dare to believe that there could be a brighter future for our village. A fine chunk of ore indeed. I imagine we could make a fair amount of coin were the villagers to band together and mine the rest of the supply. Why didn't you say sooner you were going after such treasure? I would have been much more interested in your rather in what you had to say. It's all thanks to your efforts, grandfather. Never once did you give up, even in the face of strong opposition from a certain granddaughter. I couldn't be more proud. Honestly, I was just so used to living in despair that I couldn't bring myself to believe there might be a way out. I'll be more than glad to join you the next time you go quarrying, Sayer. Thank you all for your kind words. Here's to bringing Alagana back to its former glory. Up until now, I'd always wished you would just retire and spend your golden years in peace. But it seems you're much better suited to keeping active. Took you long enough to realize. Life's not the same unless I have a chisel in hand. I hope your throats are nice and warmed up, because it's time for some singing. And quarrying, of course. Serenia, a hearty thanks for everything you've done for our village. You can leave the rest to us now. We'll do just fine if we have each other. The best of luck to you in all your future endeavors. Oh, that was nice. And so now we have a, I guess, gem mine or something like that up there. Okay, but that shall be it for this episode. Until next time, when we play more Final Fantasy XIV, I'm Mace and don't get lost.